There comes a time in life when you have to stop waiting for people to see you, stop waiting for them to acknowledge you, to celebrate you, to validate the gift you already have inside of you. Some of us are exhausted, not because we're doing too much, but because we've been looking in the wrong direction. We've been searching for our worth in people who don't even know their own. We've been measuring our success by standards that were never meant to define us. But what if I told you that there's a way to break free from this cycle? A way to reclaim your power and start living a life that's true to who you are. This isn't just about self-improvement, it's about self-reclamation. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has survived the test of time, teaches us that our true worth comes not from outside accolades, but from living in accordance with our own values. Today, we're going to dive deep into how we can apply these Stoic principles to stop chasing external validation and start nurturing our inner strength. If you find resonance in these words, if you're tired of playing roles that don't fit, of wearing masks that hide your true face, then stick with me. Don't skip any part of this video, because each moment is crafted to help you see a clearer image of yourself. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, consider hitting the subscribe button. It's a simple, free way to keep these conversations going. Let's embark on this journey together to a place where you can finally stop seeking approval and start approving yourself. Are you waiting for their approval? It's easy to fall into the trap, isn't it? Waiting for that nod of approval, that pat on the back, or just a simple well done from someone else to feel like you've truly accomplished something. It's almost like we're programmed to seek out validation from the outside before we can fully appreciate our own efforts. But why is this need so deeply ingrained in us? If you look at it through the lens of Stoicism, it becomes clear that seeking external approval is a distraction from what really matters, our internal progress and virtue. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca believed that true peace comes from within, not from the accolades or validations we might get from the external world. They taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. This wisdom holds a powerful lesson for us today. The only validation that truly matters is the kind you give yourself. When you're constantly looking outside yourself for confirmation, you're not only giving away your power, but also diminishing your own voice. Every time you wait for someone to give you the green light, you're essentially saying that their opinion is more valuable than your own. But think about it. Should someone else's perspective really hold more weight than your personal experience and understanding? This constant search for approval can lead to a dangerous cycle where your self-worth is tied up in what others think of you. It's like building your house on sandy ground. It's unstable, and the slightest change in the wind can bring everything crashing down. Instead, Stoicism teaches us to build our foundation on the solid ground of our own reasoned choices and actions. By focusing on what's in our control, our actions, responses, and judgments, we can cultivate a sense of self that is resilient and not dependent on the unpredictable opinions of others. So, how do we break free from this cycle? It starts with recognizing the power of your own approval. Begin each day by affirming your worth and capabilities. Reflect on your actions and decisions through self-review. What did you do today that was in line with your values and goals? Celebrate these victories, no matter how small they may seem. And remember, not every accomplishment needs a witness to be valid. Your progress is no less significant just because it goes unnoticed by others. Consider the freedom that comes with detaching from the need for external validation. Imagine the energy and time you could reclaim if you weren't constantly checking for feedback or waiting for likes on social media. This energy could be redirected towards activities that genuinely enrich your life and further your personal growth. Stoicism doesn't mean becoming indifferent or aloof. It means understanding where true value lies. It encourages us to redirect our focus inward and to cultivate our inner citadel, making it so strong and fortified that the opinions of others cannot easily penetrate it. This is not about isolating oneself from the world, but about strengthening one's self-awareness and self-acceptance to engage with the world more effectively and peacefully. In embracing this Stoic approach, you empower yourself to live more authentically. You learn to act not for the applause, but for the sake of the action itself. And when you do receive external validation, it becomes not a necessity, but a welcome addition to the satisfaction you've already derived from your own self-approval. The trap of external validation. Falling into the trap of seeking validation from others is something we've all experienced at one point or another. It's like we're on stage, constantly performing, hoping our audience approves. This need for validation can be all-consuming, and ironically, the more we seek it, the less satisfied we feel. Why do we give so much power to the opinions of others? Why do we let the likes, comments, and approvals dictate our self-worth and happiness? The ancient Stoics had a pretty clear view on this. They believed that the only thing truly worth valuing was virtue, and that the pursuit of virtue should be done for its own sake, not for recognition from others. They taught that true happiness comes from within, from knowing that you are living a life aligned with your moral values, regardless of outside approval. Seneca, one of the Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the futility of placing one's happiness in the hands of others. He argued that when you allow your emotional well-being to depend on the praise or criticism of others, you are no longer in control of your own happiness. This dependence on external validation not only affects our emotional well-being, but also impacts our decision-making. How often have you changed your plans because you worried about what others would think? Or maybe you've taken on projects that didn't align with your passions, just because they were more likely to earn you praise or recognition. When we live like this, we're not really living our own lives. We're living for other people. And this can lead us to make choices that aren't true to who we are, which only leads to regret and dissatisfaction. The trap of external validation is particularly dangerous in today's digital age, where social media platforms provide instant feedback for every aspect of our lives. It's easy to get caught up in the number of followers, likes, or comments we receive, but Stoicism teaches us to question these external sources of supposed value. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic philosopher and a Roman emperor, reminded himself to disregard the applause of others, focusing instead on his own actions and their alignment with his values. He knew that the sweetness of other people's approval is fleeting, and that true contentment comes from living a life you respect. Breaking free from the need for external validation involves turning inward and focusing on self-reflection, self-approval, and personal growth. It means understanding and accepting that not everyone will agree with or support your decisions, and that's okay. It's about respecting your own opinions more than anyone else's and trusting in your own judgment. This isn't to say feedback from others is always bad, but it shouldn't be the foundation upon which you build your self-esteem or happiness. To start this journey, begin by identifying the areas in your life where you seek approval most. Ask yourself why you seek validation in these areas and what it would mean to stop. Consider journaling about your findings to clarify your thoughts. Also, practice mindfulness to stay present and focused on your own experiences rather than how they might be perceived by others. Mindfulness can help you develop a stronger connection to your inner self, reducing the impulse to look outside for affirmation. Why self-focus is key. In a world that often feels like it's pulling us in 1,000 different directions, It's easy to lose sight of what really matters: ourselves. We get so caught up in trying to meet everyone else's expectations that we forget to focus on our own needs and goals. But let me tell you, centering your life around your personal development isn't just beneficial, it's essential. This isn't about becoming self-centered, it's about becoming self-directed, about steering your own ship. Now, if we take a page from the Stoics, they'd tell us something incredibly profound yet straightforward. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, as Marcus Aurelius famously said. This Stoic principle reminds us that focusing on ourselves and what we can control not only leads to personal strength, but also shields us from the chaos of what we can't control. By prioritizing our internal growth, we cultivate resilience and independence, key attributes that allow us to navigate life's challenges with grace and composure. When we shift our focus inward, we start to develop a clearer understanding of who we are and what we truly want out of life. This self-awareness is the foundation of all personal growth. It's about asking yourself some tough questions. What are my values? What am I passionate about? What kind of person do I want to be? The answers to these questions can't be found in the outside world. They come from deep reflection and honest self-assessment. Moreover, self-focus allows us to set and achieve personal goals that are aligned with our true selves, not with what others expect of us. This is critical because pursuing goals that reflect our values and aspirations leads to greater fulfillment and happiness. Imagine setting a goal based purely on your interests and then achieving it. The satisfaction that comes from this achievement is pure and untainted by the need for external validation. Another key aspect of focusing on yourself involves taking responsibility for your own life, another Stoic tenet. Stoicism teaches that our reactions, emotions, and decisions are up to us. When you embrace this level of responsibility, you empower yourself to make changes that lead to a more fulfilling life. You stop blaming others or external circumstances for your unhappiness and start making proactive choices to improve your situation. Furthermore, concentrating on your personal development helps you cultivate virtues such as discipline, patience, and courage. These are qualities that, according to Stoicism, define a good life. By focusing on developing these virtues, we not only improve ourselves but also our ability to contribute positively to the lives of others. It's a win-win. As you better yourself, you also become better equipped to help those around you. Self-focus also means prioritizing self-care, which is often overlooked in our busy lives. Taking time for yourself to rest, reflect, and rejuvenate is not selfish. It's necessary for maintaining mental and physical health. When we neglect self-care, we risk burning out, which can derail our efforts to live a virtuous and productive life. When you focus on developing yourself, you reduce your dependency on external validation. You start to validate yourself based on your own criteria of success. This shift not only boosts your self-esteem, but also makes you less vulnerable to criticism and rejection. It helps you maintain a steady course even when external approval wavers. Practical steps to shift your focus. Let's talk about shifting your focus inward, because knowing you should focus on yourself and actually doing it are two very different things, right? Making that shift can seem daunting at first, but with practical steps, it becomes manageable and, frankly, transformative. It's like turning your gaze from a mirror reflecting the world back to you, to a window looking out onto the landscape of your own life and potential. One of the first steps in this shift is setting clear personal goals that reflect your true aspirations and not what someone else expects of you. This could mean sitting down and really thinking about what you want in areas like your career, interpersonal relationships, health, and personal development. Stoicism teaches us to act with purpose and intention, and that starts with knowing what you're aiming for. Write these goals down, make them specific, and remember, these are for you and you alone, not to impress anyone else. Another crucial step is cultivating self-awareness, a core tenet in Stoic philosophy. Start by observing your thoughts and emotions throughout the day. How much are your decisions influenced by others? Are you choosing paths because they align with your values or because they seem to be what others would approve of? Journaling can be an incredible tool here. By writing down your thoughts and reactions, you can begin to see patterns and understand your true motivations. Over time, this practice will help you make choices that are more aligned with your authentic self. Moreover, Stoicism isn't just about reflection, it's about action. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the importance of action over words. So another step is to start small, with changes that reinforce your new focus. Choose one area to improve that feels especially significant to you. If it's health, maybe commit to a daily walk. If it's intellectual growth, read a book every month. The key here is consistency. Small, consistent actions over time lead to substantial changes, not overnight gestures. In addition to these personal endeavors, practice saying no to things that don't align with your goals or values. This might be one of the toughest steps because it involves setting boundaries. Stoicism teaches us the value of our time and energy, both of which are limited resources. By saying no to things that drain or stray from your path, you conserve these precious resources for what truly matters. This might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to pleasing others, but it strengthens your commitment to yourself. Stoicism encourages us to differentiate between what we can control and what we can't. A lot of our mental energy is wasted on the latter. A practical approach here is to actively redirect your focus whenever you find yourself worrying about uncontrollable outcomes. Ask yourself, is this within my power? If it's not, guide your focus back to what you can influence. This could be your effort, your attitude, or your preparation. Over time, this practice helps build mental resilience and clarity, keeping you centered on your own journey rather than external circumstances. Visual imagery, the mirror metaphor. Imagine starting each day with a simple yet profound ritual, standing before a mirror, not just to check your appearance, but to truly see yourself. This mirror isn't your ordinary glass. It's more like a portal, reflecting not just your external self, but your inner truth as well. Every morning as you look into this mirror, it asks you silently, are you living for them or are you living for you? This isn't about vanity, it's about visibility, your own visibility to yourself. Now, think about how often we use mirrors only to adjust our external appearance, to make sure we look right for the world outside. But what if we used it instead as a tool for introspection and alignment with our inner values? This idea ties closely to Stoic philosophy, where the emphasis is often on internal rather than external realities. The Stoics, like Epictetus, would argue that the reflection we should be most concerned with is the one that shows how our actions align with our principles. In this mirror metaphor, each reflection becomes an opportunity for self-assessment and growth. When you look into this mirror, you don't just see who you are, you see who you could become. It reflects back at you the areas where you're strong and the parts where you need to grow. It doesn't sugarcoat or distort. It simply shows what's there, urging you to confront your true self, warts and all. And as you make this a daily practice, the mirror begins to serve as a reminder of your journey towards self-mastery. The Stoics believed that wisdom comes from constant learning about oneself and the world, And what better way to facilitate this than through a tool that reflects your true self? By using the mirror to gauge your growth, you can start to see changes over time. Maybe you notice that you're smiling more, not because you're happier every single moment, but because you're becoming more at peace with who you are. Perhaps you see a new light in your eyes, a reflection of the confidence you feel from living authentically. But this mirror does more than just reflect. It also teaches. It teaches you to focus on what's within your control, your responses, your attitudes, and your behaviors. Every glance is a reminder. Are my actions today reflective of the person I aspire to be? Am I living true to my values, or am I merely reacting to what's being thrown my way? This is the Stoic challenge, using what you see in the mirror to make deliberate, thoughtful choices about how you live. The mirror metaphor also extends beyond the individual. It can act as a symbol for how we project ourselves into the world. Just as we choose what to wear each day, we also choose which attitudes and personas we present to others. Are we showing our true selves, or are we masking our reality with what we think people want to see? The Stoic goal here would be to ensure that there is congruence between the inner self and its outward expression, reducing the discrepancies between who we are and how we wish to be perceived. Empowering yourself to move forward. Sometimes in the hustle of everyday life, it's easy to forget that we're the authors of our own stories. We can become passive characters, reacting to what happens rather than actively shaping our destiny. But here's a powerful reminder: you have the ultimate power to empower yourself and move forward, regardless of your current circumstances. It's about seizing that pen and starting to write your own narrative. To start taking control and empowering yourself, first acknowledge where you are without judgment. Acceptance is a key Stoic practice, seeing things for what they are, not worse than they are. This isn't about resignation, but about recognizing your starting point. From here, ask yourself, what is within my control? This might be your attitude, your effort, the people you choose to surround yourself with, or the boundaries you set. Focusing on these aspects lets you reclaim a lot of power that might otherwise feel lost to external circumstances. Next, set intentions that are rooted deeply in your personal values. What are the principles that you hold dear? Honesty, courage, compassion, perseverance? Define what these mean to you in practical terms. For example, if integrity is important to you, you might decide that moving forward means making promises only when you know you can keep them. By aligning your actions with your values, you ensure that every step you take is infused with purpose and meaning. Then, take small, consistent steps toward your goals. The Stoics were big on the idea of progress through daily practice. They believed that excellence wasn't an act, but a habit. So think about the habits that could lead you to where you want to be. If your goal is to be healthier, start with something manageable, like replacing one sugary drink with water each day. It's these little victories that build momentum and create lasting change. It's also crucial to reflect regularly on your progress. Self-reflection is a tool that Stoics use to cultivate self-awareness and self-improvement. Take time each day or week to contemplate what you've done well and where you could improve. This isn't about being hard on yourself, but about finding opportunities for growth. Reflection helps you see not just where you went wrong, but also how far you've come, which is incredibly empowering. Moreover, prepare yourself for setbacks. They are inevitable, but a Stoic views them not as failures, but as opportunities to learn and strengthen resolve. When faced with challenges, instead of getting discouraged, ask yourself what this situation can teach you. What can you learn from this that will help you move forward? Every obstacle is a chance to practice some virtue: patience, resilience, courage. Finally, empower yourself by controlling your influences. Stoicism teaches us to be selective about the impressions we allow into our minds. In practical terms, this might mean limiting time spent on social media or choosing not to engage in negative conversations. Instead, fill your environment with positivity and inspiration. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and share your values, and consume content that enriches your soul and sharpens your mind. As we wrap up today's journey into the heart of Stoic wisdom, remember, the only approval you ever need is your own. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal and joining this community of seekers and thinkers. If you're eager to dive deeper, check out one of the suggested videos on your screen to continue your path to self-mastery. Until next time, keep living true to your values, and thank you for walking this path with us.